What if the breaking wasn't the end, but the beginning? What if the pain you've been running from is the path to who you're meant to become? This is where everything changes.
Some things don't crack quietly. They split like thunder in a still sky. You try to hold the pieces, beg them not to fall. But the truth is, they were never meant to stay whole. Sometimes what breaks is what no longer fits. And in the breaking, something breathes. Not every prison has bars. Some are made of comfort, of quiet pretending, of smiling through silence. You don't notice the walls until they start to fall. And when they do, it feels like collapse. But really, it's your first breath of air. You were taught to fear the fall, to dread the unraveling. But the fall isn't always the end. Sometimes it's the only way forward. It strips away what never served you and shows you what was real underneath. There are masks we wear so long we forget they're not our face. We shrink, we bend, we break to stay loved. But there comes a day when the mask cracks, and through the fracture, your truth walks out. Not pretty, not polished, but real. I know it hurts, the silence after the shatter, when everything familiar is gone and you're left in the echo. But pain doesn't come to punish. It comes to purge, to burn off what you were never meant to carry. You've spent years patching leaks, covering scars, faking strength. But pain is honest. It never lies to you. It shows you the wound, the lie, the thing that no longer belongs. And sometimes the only healing is the breaking itself. Close your eyes. Remember the moment it all fell apart. Not what you lost, but what it revealed. Because sometimes loss uncovers truth, and truth unlocks something deeper than survival. Some things must shatter to set you free, not because you're weak, but because you're done pretending, done carrying what was never yours, done living behind walls. The break isn't the end, it's the beginning. You're not falling apart, you're falling into place. Not losing everything, just what was never really yours. The pieces that remain will be real. The parts that stay will be strong. And what grows from this will be unshakable. One day you'll thank the breaking. You'll see it didn't destroy you, it delivered you. It ripped away the illusion so your soul could breathe. And when you rise, not despite it, but because of it, you'll carry a light no storm can touch. Pain doesn't arrive to destroy you. It arrives to shape you. Like a sculptor with steady hands, it carves away everything that isn't essential. It hurts, yes, but only because you're being revealed. What remains after pain is real. What remains is you. There's a kind of pain that echoes in silence. The kind that no one sees, but you carry every day. But inside that ache is a lesson. Quiet, sacred, unspoken. Pain doesn't speak in words, it speaks in becoming. And what it teaches never leaves you. You want to run from it, escape it, bury it, but pain will follow until you face it. Because it's not your enemy, it's your mirror. And when you finally stop running, you'll see it was never trying to break you. It was trying to build you. There are nights when pain is the only thing that answers, when nothing makes sense and everything feels like too much. But even then, you're not alone. Even then, something inside you is listening, and that something is still fighting for you. The world tells you to be strong, to move on, to smile through it. But true strength is soft. It feels, it breaks, it bleeds, and still it chooses to rise. Because rising isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. Pain chisels the stone of who you were, revealing who you are. Every cut, every scar, every hollowed out space, it's sacred work. You are not less because of your pain. You are more aware, more awake, more alive. Let yourself be shaped. Let yourself be changed. Not because you lost, but because you endured. The soul doesn't grow in comfort. It grows in the fire. And you are still burning with purpose. One day, you'll touch the part of you that was shaped by pain and thank it. You'll see beauty in the scar, wisdom in the wound, strength in the story. And you'll realize you never needed to be perfect. You only needed to be true.
The climb feels like progress. It looks good, sounds right, makes sense. But the fall is where truth lives. The fall is what humbles you, empties you, wakes you up. Because what breaks you also introduces you to who you really are. You chase the top, thinking it will fix the ache, but the summit never teaches you what the fall does. The fall strips you of ego, of illusion, of control. It makes you sit in silence and listen. That silence holds your next beginning. Falling is sacred. It's the moment the mask slips, the lies die, and gravity takes over. No more pretending, no more climbing just to be seen. In the fall, there's only you, raw, real, and still breathing. You think falling is failure, but it's not. It's feedback, a revelation. It's the part of the story where everything that's fake gets burned away, and what's left is what you build with next. The fall whispers things the climb never could, like how strength isn't found in holding on, but in letting go. How courage doesn't always look like standing. Sometimes it's falling, slowly, into truth, and choosing not to run from it. You're not weak because you slipped. You're human, you're learning, you're rewriting the script. And maybe the fall was the part you needed most, because it made you feel again. It made you stop lying to yourself. There is wisdom in the fall, in the stillness, in the ache. You begin to see things clearer when you're not chasing heights. You begin to feel what's real when you have nothing left to prove. Let it teach you. Let it reshape you. Because the climb may build your name, but the fall, it builds your soul. And when you rise again, you won't climb the same. You'll climb with purpose, with presence, with peace. One day, the fall will make sense. You'll see how it wasn't a curse, it was a calling, a recalibration, a holy pause. And you'll rise, not because you forgot what falling felt like, but because you learned what rising truly means.
Silence doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means something powerful is growing, deep beneath the noise. In the stillness, you hear what matters. In the quiet, your real voice starts to rise. And that voice is unstoppable. You don't need to be loud to be strong. You don't need to explain yourself to be worthy. Some of the most unshakable people barely say a word because they've made peace with their pain and no longer need permission to exist. People will misunderstand your silence. Let them. You're not here to be understood. You're here to understand yourself. And in the space where words once filled the void, clarity takes root. you start hearing your own truth. Silence isn't weakness. It's where strength sharpens. It's where your next move is born. It's where you sit with your fear and choose not to run. And when you rise from that silence, you're untouchable. There's something sacred about disappearing for a while, turning down the volume, getting quiet enough to hear the next version of you knocking. And when you answer, everything changes. Loud doesn't mean powerful. Noise doesn't mean progress. True strength walks in silence, watches everything, and speaks only when needed. And when it does, the world listens, because it comes from depth, not ego. Let them doubt you. Let them fill the silence with their assumptions. You don't owe them noise. You owe yourself truth. And if truth means walking alone for a while, so be it. There's something sacred about disappearing for a while, turning down the volume, getting quiet enough to hear the next version of you knocking. And when you answer, everything changes. Don't fear the silence, use it. It's not empty, it's full of answers, full of direction, full of strength. And when you return from it, you won't come back the same.
You're not broken just because you feel lost. You're in between, not who you were, and not yet who you're becoming. This space is sacred, even when it's messy. It's not failure, it's formation. Becoming never looks perfect. You've been told to get it together. But what if falling apart was part of the process? What if your confusion, your doubt, your pain was proof that you're growing? Healing isn't linear. Becoming is never clean. There are parts of you dying off, and that's not weakness, it's evolution. You're shedding layers that once kept you safe, patterns, personas, old stories. Let them go. You're not breaking down, you're breaking open. You don't have to pretend you're okay. You don't need to rush your rebirth. This is the part where your soul gets honest, where you stop performing, where you finally face yourself and start building from what's real. I know it's hard. The in-between is lonely. It feels like no one sees what you're carrying. But becoming isn't about being seen. It's about seeing yourself and learning to stay even when it hurts. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not too much. You are becoming. And becoming means burning down what doesn't belong so the truth in you can rise. You don't need to go back to who you were. That version of you wasn't built for where you're headed. Let the past be a lesson, not a home. Let what hurt you teach you, not define you. This is the season of undoing and rebuilding, the season of walking away from who you had to be to make space for who you really are. That's not weakness, that's power. One day, you'll look back and see it clearly, that you weren't falling apart, you were waking up, that you weren't lost, you were rerouting, that you weren't broken, you were becoming something unbreakable. Hard times don't come to ruin you, they come to reveal you. Just like fire doesn't destroy gold, it removes the impurities. What you're going through isn't punishment, it's purification. The heat is shaping what you're meant to become. Pressure is part of the process. Heat is part of the healing. You want ease, but ease doesn't forge strength. Fire does. And right now, life is forging something in you no comfort ever could. I know it burns. I know it's hard to breathe in the middle of it, but you are not the pain. You are what survives it. What emerges after the fire, that's who you truly are. That's the gold. You've been thrown into the flames not to suffer, but to rise, to burn away the fear, the doubt, the false identities. The fire doesn't take your worth, it takes what was never part of it and leaves you clear. Everything you're walking through is doing something deep inside you. It's building strength that doesn't shake. It's birthing clarity that doesn't fade. And it's waking up a version of you that can't be broken. The fire is brutal, yes, but it's also necessary. Because some lessons don't come through comfort, they come through collapse, through friction, through flame. And when the fire is done, you'll be unrecognizable, in the best way. You may feel like you're losing everything, but what if what you're losing was never truly yours? What if this burning is making room? What if it's clearing the space for something pure, something real? Stay in it. Let the fire finish its work. Don't numb it. Don't run. Don't pretend you're fine. Let it burn what it needs to burn. And when the smoke clears, step forward like you've never stepped before. Gold isn't afraid of fire, and neither are you. Because when the world turned up the heat, you didn't melt, you transformed. You didn't vanish, you emerged. Refined, real, ready.
The world told you strength means never crying, never breaking, never pausing. But that's not strength. That's survival in disguise. Real strength looks a lot more like softness that never gave up. They told you to hold it in, to smile when it hurt, to hide your chaos so you wouldn't make others uncomfortable. But what they called strength was silence. And silence isn't the same as healing. Real strength is showing up even when your hands are shaking. It's saying, I'm not okay, and still facing the day. It's feeling every ounce of the weight and still not walking away. That's what power actually looks like. Strength isn't loud. It doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's quiet, like breath in the middle of heartbreak, like standing still when everything in you wants to run. That stillness, that's courage. You don't need to wear armor to be strong. You don't need to win every battle to be worthy. Strength is in your truth, not your performance. And truth doesn't need to be pretty. It just needs to be yours. Strength is choosing softness in a world that praises hard edges. It's letting love in after betrayal. It's trusting again after everything broke. That kind of strength, it doesn't scream. It stays. The world lied to you. It said strength means always knowing. But real strength is found in the not knowing, in standing in the mystery, the uncertainty, the pain, and saying, I'm still here. Look in the mirror, not at your wins, not at your image. Look at your endurance. Look at how you stayed soft, even when it hurt. That's the strength they never taught you, but life did. Let go of the lie. Redefine strength on your own terms, because if you've kept going when no one saw, if you've healed in silence and still chose love, then you, my friend, are stronger than they'll ever understand.
Just because it's dark right now doesn't mean the story is over. You're in a chapter, not the conclusion. The pain you're feeling, it's not permanent. It's part of the arc, and every arc has a turning point. There are days you feel like closing the book, giving up on the plot. But what if this chapter is the one where it all shifts, where the quiet fight turns into strength, where everything finally starts to make sense? You are not your worst moment, not your biggest mistake, not the part of the story where everything fell apart. That's just a page. Flip it. Breathe. The next one hasn't even been written yet. Even when it feels like nothing's changing, you are. Every sleepless night, every choice to keep going, every silent scream you turned into a whisper of hope. That's progress. That's movement. That's story. The past didn't break you. It built you. And what's ahead isn't empty, it's unwritten. You are the author now. No one else holds the pen. So write something worthy of your soul. Turn the page, even if your hands shake, even if your heart still hurts. What's behind you shaped you, but it doesn't own you. What's in front of you, that's yours to define. You've survived too much to stop here. You've walked through fire and came out holding light. So don't you dare call this the end. You're just entering the part where the hero becomes real. One chapter doesn't hold the whole truth. One heartbreak doesn't erase your worth. Your story is long, layered, and still unfolding. Trust it. Trust the turning. Trust the page you're on. One day, you'll reread this moment, and you'll see it wasn't the breakdown. It was the breakthrough. It wasn't the end. It was the edge of becoming. And you'll thank yourself for turning the page.
Hold on. Not because everything is okay, but because something inside you refuses to quit. That quiet voice that says, just one more step. That's not weakness. That's becoming. And it's already alive in you. You may not see the change yet, but it's happening. In the waiting, in the breaking, in the breathing. Growth doesn't always look loud. Sometimes it looks like survival. Sometimes it looks like still being here. You don't need to have it all figured out to be evolving. You're not behind. You're not lost. You're transforming in ways only time will reveal. Becoming doesn't ask for speed. It asks for trust. Every time you chose to keep going, something shifted. Every time you sat in the pain instead of running, something awakened. That's how it works. Not all at once, but quietly, consistently, courageously. Becoming isn't about changing into someone else. It's about uncovering who's been there all along. Under the noise, under the doubt, under the fear. You don't need to add more. You need to return to you. Hold on, even when the path is unclear, especially then. Because the strongest roots grow in the dark, and what's forming inside you now will one day become your foundation. You've already started. That's the part you forget. The becoming isn't ahead of you. It's already in motion. It's in your breath, your choices, your stillness. Your strength is already speaking. One day you'll look back and realize the moment you almost let go was the moment you began to bloom. That the soil you thought would bury you was the same ground that grew you. So hold on, not to what's fading, but to what's forming. You're not waiting to become. You already are. Becoming doesn't start with a moment. It starts with you choosing to stay in the fire and still believe in light.
Scars aren't signs of damage. They're proof of survival. Proof that you were hit, hurt, and still healed. Every scar on your body, your heart, your story holds a seed, not of shame, but of growth. You didn't just go through it, you grew through it. Quietly, slowly, without applause. While no one saw the battle inside, something inside you was shifting. Every ache planted something new. Some pain doesn't leave. It lives in the muscle memory, in the way you love, the way you guard yourself. But even that pain can bloom. Even that hurt can become holy ground, if you let it. You keep looking at your wounds like they weaken you, but they made you, they taught you, they rooted you. Every time you got back up, another seed cracked open. Another part of you stretched toward the light. You are not behind, you are not broken. You are blooming in ways no one can see yet. Beneath the surface, something is taking root, and what's growing in you is stronger than what tried to break you. Your scars are not stories of defeat. They're proof that the storm passed and you remained. They are reminders, not of what hurt, but of how you healed, and how you're still healing. Growth is not glamorous. It's messy, confusing, lonely, but it's also beautiful because it's real. And every painful thing you've been through, it's feeding something powerful inside you. You've planted strength where there was once sorrow, courage where there was once fear, and day by day, scar by scar, you've grown into someone even you didn't expect, someone unshakable. Keep going. You may not see the bloom yet, but it's coming. You're not just surviving anymore. You're growing. And every scar that once made you hide is now a seed that says, I made it.